Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Bad Times Good Stories podcast. My name is Joe Flanders, and as always, I am thrilled to be in your ears right now. I hope you're having a great day, had a nice long weekend. I know I did. Saw a lot of movies. Saw Solo, which was fine. I've gotten into the habit of not talking shit about movies, because if you enjoyed it, great. Who am I to say otherwise? I'll just keep my opinions to my damn self. I enjoyed it. It was fine. Just trying to have more positivity in my life. It's just a movie. It's okay. It wasn't perfect. Few are. Today on the show, I've got Chris Covarrubias. He's a great guy who I've gotten to know pretty well over the last couple of years, as he is married to my girlfriend's sister. In getting to know my girlfriend's family, they are all Mexican-American, I realized I'd never really talked with anybody in depth about moving to this country and not knowing the language and basically having to start your life over. And so I really wanted to talk to Chris about that, and he was totally game. He moved here when he was 17, didn't speak English. Basically, he had to start everything over. He had to start school over, not from kindergarten, mind you, but he started high school as a freshman. And he was basically on his own. He had some extended family, but by the sound of things, it looks like he was more or less on his own, thrust into being an adult, finding a job, paying rent. And it's a pretty interesting conversation. Fascinating, really. I definitely think it gives me some perspective on not having to do that in my life. I think I take things for granted, just having been born here and still only knowing one language. I am working on my Spanish, but it's not good. So I can't imagine having to be basically being forced to learn a language. But that was really important to him, and he figured it out. But there were certainly some bumps along the way, which we get into. We talk about his early dating life here in LA and the problems that arose from that. So it's a really great conversation. I hope you enjoy it. If you do enjoy it, please give us 5 stars on iTunes, and dare I say, even write a little review. You can also share the podcast, and if you have a story that you'd like me to read on the air, please email me at badtimesgoodstoriespodcast@gmail.com. You can also check out badtimesgoodstoriespod.com. That is our website, and you can look at past episodes, check out our merch. We got some t-shirts and some tote bags, all sorts of good stuff. And so, without further ado, here is my conversation with Chris Covarrubias. So you sell stuff on eBay and on Amazon, right?
Right. We've been selling on eBay for just over a year.
And it's mostly clothes, right?
Yeah, mostly clothes. We've been doing it longer, but it was like something on the side, like nothing really serious. But we've been taking it serious for just about a year, and it's a good.
So what does that entail to take it seriously? You just go do you go every weekend?
I'm always sourcing every weekend, every free time that I have. Always looking for vendors and stuff like that to buy clothes, or I sell anything like clothes, shoes. Yeah. I mean, reselling is pretty simple, and it's not a genius thing. It's just buy for cheap, sell for retail.
Right.
There's people there that are making 7 figures on eBay, and it's legit businesses.
And I didn't realize, you kind of blew my mind. I didn't realize that there's an outlet store for Goodwill, a Goodwill outlet. To me, Goodwill was always that's the last place.
Yeah, that's the bottom of no. But that's not
actual.
That's not the bottom of the barrel. There's an outlet for all Goodwill stores, and they're everywhere. I thought it was just here in LA, or in in California, but no, they're on every state. You can find. Some people call it the bins because there's these big bins that they just throw a bunch of stuff on it, and you can find from video games, DVDs, clothes.
And they like sell it by the pound, right?
And they sell it by the pound, yeah.
Which is so funny.
A pair of shoes you can get them for like, I don't know, $2. But you find all kinds of stuff there.
I bet.
Yeah, and this location that we go is they sell books for 75 cents. And that's how I get
and then you sell books on Amazon.
Yeah, some of my inventory. And we just send it to Amazon and make some side money, side hustle.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Is there like a whole like community of people doing the same thing that you're doing? Like, do you run into the same people?
Oh yeah, dude. There's a full community in Instagram, and it's just like all resellers.
Like, do you see the same people though, like in person, like when you go to the stores and stuff?
Yeah, same.
Is there like are there like unwritten rules or etiquette to like that whole community? Like, have you ever like both grabbed a book at the same time?
Oh, dude, that's the awkwardest. That's the awkwardest thing.
What do you do in that situation?
One or the other. Let's go. Yeah. Whoever grabs it first is like, if you grab it first or the other person. Some people just won't let it go. I'm one of the people that I'm like, I'm not gonna fight over a freaking 75 cents book.
Right.
It's like, have it here. There's a 300 more here.
Yeah. Well, so I met you because you were married to my girlfriend's sister.
Correct.
I'm glad we both know that.
Yeah.
But now the audience does too. I had never dated some Mexican American before. And so it was really, it's continued to be kind of a growing experience for me. Yeah. I mean, it's not like it's been,
we're full of surprises. We're like a Pandora box.
Well, like it's mainly just like a couple nights ago, I had mentioned to Karina like, oh, let's have grilled cheese for dinner tonight.
Right.
And she's like, cool. And then when she got home, she's like, actually, I'm kind of in the mood for like a quesadilla. And I just laughed because we're basically talking about the same thing. Like,
right?
My version is Wonder Bread
grilled
and cheese. Hers is a tortilla.
A tortilla.
Instead of like American cheese, it's mozzarella or, whatever. Yeah. But, like on the bigger scale, it's also just given me an opportunity to, as opposed to just sort of blindly supporting ideas like, immigration and all that kind of stuff. Now I actually am like learning firsthand, like, people who've been affected by this.
Yeah.
I think there's kind of an entitlement to not having to have dealt with that, Like, you just think about it in a different way.
Right. You hear about it and you're like, cool. And then you just keep on going with your life. But there's, and it's not only that. I'm sure that people in places that are in war right now or places like that, and we hear about it, but we don't really pay much attention because we're not there, or
it doesn't affect us.
It's not firsthand.
Exactly. Yeah, or it's not somebody that you know. So I've grown more interested in all of that, and so I know you had kind of a crazy, time getting here. Yeah, right? Yeah. You moved here when you were what?
17.
17?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
were you
17.
born in Mexico or?
I was born and raised in Mexico. Okay. Yeah, we would come here once in a while, but just because my family from my mother's side, most of them live here. Like my grandma and her sisters and stuff. They all live here, but I was born and raised in Mexico, and when I was like around 15, 16, I'm like, I wonder how the school is over there, in America. Mm-hmm. And so I decided to come and finish high school here.
Oh, cool.
So I set back myself a few years because I was almost done over there. And when I came here, I had to start all over. Like really? I was almost done with high school over there. And when I came here, I had to start from 9th grade. So I was the biggest 9th grader you've ever seen. And I'm pretty tall.
You are.
I'm 6'4".
Yeah.
And I think when I started high school, I was already like 6'2". I don't think I grew more than 2 inches.
So you were a 17-year-old freshman?
Yeah.
Wow.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
so what were your like when you would come and visit family and stuff, like what was your impression of the U.S. and everything?
Different way of a lifestyle. It's just different. When I say that, is maybe because my parents in Mexico, they own their own business, and they don't work for someone. They just do. And here everybody's like on the clock, and you have to be here. You have to be at work at this time, and then you eat when you have time, not when you want, pretty much. And over there, it's more like, I don't know, it's more relaxed. It's like maybe my experience.
Right.
I'm sure there's some people that had the same life as here, but it was just a way different. And it's also scary because it's so like much bigger, and there's so much more stuff here than over there.
Sure.
But and then the language barrier.
Right.
Which
I'm definitely curious about that.
That's the biggest nightmare at least for me.
Sure.
Because coming here, you see it like a new world, dude. It's so much different. It's like you travel to a new world where you don't know where you are, don't know where anything's are. I'm sorry, you don't know where anything is.
Right.
Like even in the store or just
your
anything.
sense of geography is totally off.
Correct. Yeah. And also you can ask anyone because you don't speak the language.
Right?
And you're 17 years old, dude. Like I came here by myself. Like I didn't have my parents. I have some family, but I never really my family's like really apart. They don't. They're not like close.
Yeah.
So, when I just got here, it was just.
And how did you? And we don't need to bore it down too much, but like, how did you? You came here legally.
Yeah. I was here on a visa to finish school.
And were you able to get that fairly easily because you already had family here and stuff, or how would that process work?
Well,
or was it a challenge?
It's just because you get a visa to enter the States if you have properties and you have because of my parents having a business.
Yeah.
The U.S. government, they know you're not going to come here and just like live off of the government. And
right. Okay, so they take into account your situation.
Yeah,
in
your
current,
economic situation.
That makes sense. Okay.
And we always had a visa. Everybody has a visa in my family, and they just come and go.
Okay.
My mom comes here and just stays like 6 months, and she's like, "All right, I'm gone."
Right. Yeah. Ready to go home.
Yeah.
Okay. So I kind of cut you off, but all right. So you came here by yourself. You were 17.
Yeah.
What was that like? What was going on?
And then not only that, I mean, you come to like I said, like to a new, totally different place, and on top of that, you start school with kids that, like, I'm a pretty big kid at the time, so I wasn't bullied or anything like that. So, but still, like, I wouldn't talk to anyone once because when I got there, I didn't speak English, and I was in a high school that there was not really very much Latinos or anything like that.
Yeah.
Like I had like 2 or 3 friends in the whole high school that were Latinos and kind of spoke Spanish a little bit.
They were born here,
but they were born here, and they really spoke like really broken Spanish.
Maybe they knew it from their parents or something, but they didn't speak it.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
So that was traumatic, dude. It was so bad, dude. It was so bad. Like, I didn't want to go to school because, like, you're sitting there in class and you don't know what the hell's going on,
right?
Because like, the teacher is like blah blah blah.
Right.
Blah,
it's like
blah,
the
blah,
Charlie Brown, the Peanuts commercial, where it's just the adults are like wah 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 wah.
Exactly.
Like, that's what it sounded like.
Right.
Right.
That was me.
Yeah.
That was me in class. And then I had to kind of ask the guy on the side, "Hey, what's going on?" You know, like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And most of them were like,
"Yeah,
oh my god, this." I don't know, dude. It was mostly like I had to learn English,
right,
because I had to do it.
Right.
Like, not because I wanted to.
Right.
I mean, and a lot of people are like, would ask me like, oh, how were you born in the States, or how long you been here? And I'm like, oh, I've been here for, I don't know, 10 years, or I came here when I was 17. And they're like, no way. I'm like, yeah. Whoa, your English is pretty good. I'm like, it's all right, but I still feel like my English is kind of broken, but
it's not.
But I'm like, yeah, you should been through high school with me and feel what I felt.
Right. Well, so where were you going to? Where were you live? Were you when you moved here? Where were you? To the U.S.
When I moved here, I was living in San Fernando Valley, California. And
by yourself or with family, or?
I got here and then I stayed in my aunt's house for like a month and maybe 2 months. But it was crazy because I got here and then I stayed at her house, and like a month later she's like, well, you know what? We all pay rent here and you kind of have to pay rent. And I'm like, oh, crap.
Because I'm 17 and going to school.
And, it's like, so I had to get a job after school. I'm working like 4 hours after school. And
where were you working?
I got so my cousin's in-laws, or his father-in-law was a programmer at a shop, at a CNC machine shop. And they were looking for people just to operate machines. Yeah. And I knew that was that he was looking for people, and I asked him, "Hey, do you think they'll give me a job? I'm 17, and he's like, I don't know, I'll ask." Yeah. And for sure, the next day they were like, "Yeah, just come over and after school and you'll have an interview." And again, like, you speak very little English, and then you have to go to a company and like be in an interview with the owner of the company that's gonna maybe give you a job or not. Yeah, that's stressful. So I took the boss there and I got the job for like, I don't know, $8 minimum wage. Yeah, I think it was $8 or something like that, and ever since that's what I've been doing. Yeah, that's what I do now.
What were they building?
We would make airplane parts right there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
okay.
We were.
That's a hell of a first job.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I applied to In-N-Out. I applied to like for security at a retail store. Yeah. And I never heard back from them. Right. But I went there and I got a job, and I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. And they're automatic machines. It's not like you're freaking digging trenches with.
You're not in the coal mines. Yeah. Okay, so you're here. You got a job. You're going to school. Things are kind of coming together. How do you learn English?
I don't know.
Is it just soaking it up? Like, are you just watching a lot of American TV? Like,
I guess your brain starts recognize, even though you don't understand what people are saying. Right. If I tell you, oh, this is a cup of coffee in Russian, and you hear it so many times, your brain kind of catches it, and then you end up understanding it.
Right. Yeah.
But also, I mean, I took classes after school. I was committed to learn English. Yeah. Like that was the last thing I was gonna do. Right. Yeah. So that's how I think. Within 6 months that I got here, I was already speaking full English and writing English. Like, oh wow, I could read, write, and speak, like have a full blown conversation with someone. Yeah. Within 6 months, I was here.
Did you have any like faux pas? I'll say, like where you thought you were saying one thing, but you were actually saying something else, and you offended somebody or something.
I'm like, oh, I can't say that. Is that offensive? I mean, I can't recall, but I'm sure I always say some things that I shouldn't say,
right? Or not even being aware of it.
Yeah,
just getting the words confused, or even if it wasn't offensive, just I'm sure there was a lot of confused looks on people's faces if you thought you were saying one thing and you're actually like I have penis on my face.
Yeah. Yeah, something like that.
I don't know why that would be a conversation you were having.
I love penis. I mean, pasta, the P, you know, it's just confusing. New language, you know, America, Mexican, no speak of the English.
So, but you said after like 6 months, huh? You felt like you had a decent handle on it.
I mean, it was still broken, but I was able to hold a conversation.
Yeah, you could understand what the teachers were saying.
Yeah,
and all that.
Right, but the only thing is that so everything started falling together. I mean,
falling into place.
Yeah, falling into place. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
But at the end of like my senior year, I was really struggling like financially because I was only working like 4 hours a day.
Yeah.
And I had bought a really like a bucket to drive around and stuff, and so I would have to pay for my rent, food, and gas with 4 hours a day, and just I couldn't make it anymore. I was really struggling, so I had to leave school.
Oh wow!
Just
okay,
because
senior year, just couldn't afford it. Yeah.
And I told my counselor, and he was like, "Well, you can't do that." I'm like, "Well, no, yeah, I can, because I'm 18 already, and I need to eat."
Right. Yeah.
And so yeah, I checked myself out of school.
Wow.
When I was 18, and I wish I would have finished high school, but I guess I'm doing okay.
Yeah. Man. So you never finished?
No, I never finished high school.
Yeah, I'd say you're definitely doing okay.
And I was like, and I was doing good. I wasn't a terrible student, but it was just more like a financial situation that.
And so at that point, you were still living with your aunt?
No. I was out of there by I lived with her, and then I moved into my cousin's with my cousin, and I was with them for a while.
Yeah, you and your cousin?
Yeah.
And you just got your own place, you two?
And then later on, I just moved with friends.
It's so funny because, like, the idea of it's like if I were 17 and hearing like, you know, you were living on your own, you had your own place with your cousin, like there was no like parental oversight.
Right,
you know, like
right.
That sounds amazing.
Right, exactly. You would think it's like, oh my god, we're gonna have parties and we're gonna no,
because you have no money.
You can't.
I think as a kid you forget that part where it's like, oh, if you're living on your own, you're on your own.
Exactly.
Like you're paying rent, you're paying taxes, you're like all that shit.
Right. You have to pay for your clothes, you have to pay for your food, and it's like, man, I can do whatever I want, but I can't really afford anything I want to do,
right?
Because it's California and it's super expensive. Anything you want to do is just like
unfortunately, you chose like the most expensive state to move to,
right?
But if that's where your family was, like, what are you going to do? Well, so are you like dating anybody at this point? Are you able to like have some fun? Like,
I had a couple of girlfriends in high school.
Yeah.
Funny story. My very first girlfriend I had here, it was Caucasian.
Okay, nice.
So, and I didn't speak English.
So it was a physical attraction.
Yeah. 95% of it, and the other 5% was like, you want to eat something before we, you know? Okay, bye.
How did that start? Was it like in the movie when you were at a party and there were no words spoken, you just locked eyes and walked up to each other and were just like...
It was funny because I skipped school one day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, nah, I'm not going to school. And I went to my cousin's work. He was working at the court. Mm. And that was his coworker. She was like 25 or something like that.
You were like 18?
At the time, I was like 17, 18, yeah. And I met her, and with my very broken English, I was like, my cousin mentioned that to me in Spanish. He was like, would you believe that she thinks she's ugly? And she was like, she wasn't beautiful, but she was like blonde hair, blue eyes.
Attractive.
I'm like, she's pretty she's all right.
Yeah, sure.
And
so is that what you told her? You're like, hey, you're all right.
Yeah, I was like, no, you're not ugly. You're pretty. Yeah, you're all right.
What every girl wants to hear. Hey,
Yeah.
you're all right.
Yeah. Oh my God!
Well.
Stop it.
Let's go get naked.
Yeah. Oh, you're all right. Okay, let's go. Let's do it. But I mean, I wasn't like interested in her.
Right.
It was the first time I've ever seen her, and so that happened, and then I guess she broke off with her boyfriend and told my cousin, "Oh, now I'm gonna have to go out with your cousin."
Right. So you were the rebound.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty
Which
much.
was probably fine with you.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, let's go. Yeah, so my cousin comes and tells me, hey, guess her name was India.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, nice.
Well, it's like the country. I'm like, okay.
Okay. All right. So that's good. So you were able to. There was some pleasure in your life. It wasn't all like.
No, it wasn't all bad. I mean,
that's good.
It was. It's just really. It's been a crazy experience, like a roller coaster, but overall, it's been good. I mean.
Okay. So you're done with high school. You're working. You're getting by barely. And then what happens?
My mom and my little brother came over.
Okay.
And
were you having regular communication with them?
Yeah, I was talking to them. I was living with some friends and just working at the same place that I got the job.
Right.
In high school. Now I'm working full time and stuff and I tell my mom I can get a place and you guys can move in.
Oh wow!
And my little brother can go to school and you can get a job if you want or not. I don't care. So yeah, I rented a little townhouse and they moved in with me. So I was, I don't know, 19. I think it was like 19, 20 years old.
Wow. Okay.
And
was that an adjustment?
Oh, dude, it's stressful. Just being by yourself. Imagine having responsibility of your little brother and then your mom.
Yeah.
You know. And
did you volunteer to do that, or did you feel kind of pressured to do that?
Oh no. It was totally my decision.
Yeah.
Like, I was glad that someone was here from my family. You know.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I've been alone for all this time. And it's cool that I get to see you guys, and because I never went back. I mean, I could have gone back if I wanted to, but there was always something. There was school, and then I started working. I dropped out high school, and so I started working full time.
Right.
And you only get like a week's vacation.
Sure.
A year.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I don't have money. I can't go back or whatever. So I never went back for 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah. I came back already married.
Wow. So it was a long time before you came back.
Yeah, it was a long
to
time.
visit. We should clarify.
Right.
Yeah.
And
during all that stuff, did you ever, like, when things got rough, did you think about like just moving back, or was that
every day, dude.
Every day? Yeah.
Every day. I would have dreams that I was back home.
Right.
But the thing is that it was funny because in my dream, I was back in Mexico.
Yeah.
And I was like, how the hell did I get here? Like, I'm back and I'm like, why did I went there? I mean, I didn't accomplish anything. Right. I didn't do anything. Like, what? I know English now, but
sure. Yeah.
It's like, so it was kind of like a frustrating dream. And then I would wake up and I'm like, oh man, I'm still here.
Yeah.
But it was always when things would get like really rough, I would tell my mom, yeah, I'm coming back.
Right.
And then a week later, I'm like, nah. I'll stick to it. I don't know.
What was it that wanted you that kept you here? I mean, like, was it just like a motivation to like, I want to succeed here?
Yeah, just I want to do something out of my life. I don't want to come back and feel like I failed on whatever I'm here for. Right. You know, like, it's not that I had a goal coming here, my only goal was finishing school, and I didn't finish it.
Right.
So I've already failed on that. But coming back and to like, I left when I was 17, so I didn't have much back there. So like,
Right.
I'm like, I have friends, but I don't have a job back there or
Right.
or anything. I have a job here now, and why would I come back? So
Right. Yeah.
that's,
Okay. So you move in with your mom and your brother, and I'm sure that was just like a lifestyle change because you did go from like doing whatever you want. I mean, I know there were limitations on what you could do because of finances, but like that must have just been like a.
It's a tough situation. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're by yourself, you don't care. You spend the money like
Right.
on whatever you want.
Nobody's like judging you or anything else,
right?
Like,
or you don't have to pay for two other persons
right,
expensive
right,
of everything,
yeah,
and so yeah, it was pretty. My life changed the whole like 180 degrees, 'cause
Sure.
I had a family now,
Yeah.
and I had to provide for them
yeah.
at 20 years old.
Wow.
And it was cool. It was kind of cool because it felt good that I was able to do it.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh, I'm 20 years old and I'm providing for my family. I'm providing for my mom and my little brother. My
Right.
little brother's going to school, and so it was good. At that point in my life, I'm pretty established, and I'm making more money. I'm making really good money at the time, and so I'm like, I was kind of proud of myself right there.
Definitely, that'd be an ego boost. Like you're like, I've
Yeah.
been here for 3 years and I'm providing for 2 other people.
Right,
Like that's
right.
pretty impressive.
So yeah, but
Without a high school degree.
right,
Like, that's
exactly,
impressive.
right.
So I'm sure it was really important for you your brother finished.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they end up going back to Mexico
Before he did.
Yeah.
So you weren't able to get that one either.
No. So it's just like,
So
I
close.
almost got this accomplished, and no, almost gotta be faster than that.
Yeah, yeah.
But no, my mom can't stay here for too long. She just comes here and like she stays here and visits and goes back. That
Right.
one time she was supposed to stay here and like we were supposed to just get the house and get things situated here and just have a life here.
Right.
But she couldn't do it.
Right. Yeah.
She went back.
Went home.
And took my little brother.
So then what? You're back on your own again?
And I'm back on my own, and it's party time.
Yeah, I bet.
Oh
Really-
my god, dude! So it's like I'm like 21 at the time. I'm 21. I just turned 21. My mom and my little brother are gone. I have this whole house for myself.
Oh, right,
So-
because you that was where all of you were living, and now they're gone, so you have a whole place.
Yeah, I have a whole place
Yeah.
to myself. I can't afford rent for shit. But no, I could. But my mom at the time was already helping me because she got a job and stuff.
Yeah.
But I had a couple of coworkers moving in with me.
Okay.
And dude, it was just party after party. It's just like getting wasted, and every weekend it was from 21 to like 23.
Yeah.
I was just a party monster, dude.
Yeah.
And I guess that was that's been my wildest part of my life from 21 to like 23.
When you think about those years, like do a couple specific nights come to mind, or specific experiences you had?
Of partying?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. So I went out with this girl, right?
Yeah.
I meet this girl through my cousin.
Okay.
The same
The
cousin.
same cousin, yeah.
The same cousin. I would always hang out with them, dude. We would always drink, and it was beer pong season, like, or the time of the beer pong, So we would get wasted playing beer pong till like 6 in the morning.
Yeah.
And they invited this girl over, and I was talking to her and whatever, and she's like, "Oh, we should go out." Because I mentioned a place, Saddle Ranch. I don't know if you ever heard of it.
The Mechanical Bull.
Yeah, there you
yeah.
go. So,
Oh, yeah.
she was like, "Oh my god, I love that place, and we should go out." And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And so we go out, and she's like, "Oh, I'll take my truck, so you don't have to drive and you can drink." I'm like, "Oh, that's pretty cool.
Wow,
you're driving me there?" And I'm like, "Oh, let's go." So we get to the place.
This was pre-Uber, after all, right?
Oh yeah. This is Uber. It wasn't around yet. And
okay, so you're there.
We get to Saddle Ranch, and I'm like, I'm gonna get a drink. You want just one drink? And she's like, yeah, I'll get one. And I go to the bar and I get Long Island's, but I didn't know that the drinks are like a gallon of milk size. Yeah. And I'm like, wow, this is a pretty big drink. So I give it to her, and she freaking downs this thing like a pro, dude. Like, she freaking downs this thing like in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And I took like good 20 minutes to down that drink.
Right, yeah.
And I'm like, all right. So we're dancing and stuff. I'm like, I'm going to get another drink.
Yeah.
Because I'm not driving. I'm like, I'm trying to get drunk.
Right, yeah.
And just me being nice, I'm like, would you like another one? Expecting her to say, no, I'm good. Yeah. She's like, yeah, I'll have another one. But I see her, she's okay. I'm like, damn, this girl can drink. So I go to the bar, get another 2 Long Islands, and Long Islands are fucking. And they have
and usually the bartender, if you get another round, will make it even stiffer.
Yeah, exactly,
yeah,
right? So.
Yeah.
And I get another couple of drinks, and I give her drink.
This is your first date, right?
Yeah, this is the first date. I met her one time in my cousin's house, and then this is the first time ever going out.
Sure.
And she starts drinking the thing like a normal person now.
Sure.
And she takes 3 sips of this drink, and she's fucking wasted, dude. She's trashed. And she's like, let's get out of here. I'm like, okay, let's get out of here. And I'm thinking, man, now I have to drive because she can drive.
Yeah.
And
I bet she drank that first one so quick. She's like, oh, okay, it's my one drink that I'm going to have. I'll pound it now, and then I'll have hours to sober up. Mm-hmm. Maybe I'm giving her too much credit, but that would be what I would do in that situation. And then probably just hit her like a brick in the face because of the goddamn Long Island iced tea.
Second try.
Good choice on your. You might as well have gotten those. What is it? Adios, motherfucker.
Adios, motherfucker. Yeah.
You might as well
and those were my drinks, dude. Because you take 2 or 3 of those and you're good. Oh. I mean, you're wasted.
Yeah.
And,
mission accomplished.
And right. and drinks at bars are expensive as hell. So I don't want to spend freaking $300 on beers.
Absolutely.
So I get in the truck, and as soon as I get on the freeway, dude, I see the sirens on my back.
Oh no!
I'm like, oh. Fuck. Oh. Sorry. Excuse my French.
That's fine.
And I'm like, all right, I'm totally going to jail. I'm so fucked up right now because I finished my Long Island.
Oh, you finished your second one? well, to be 21.
Oh, yeah. I'm like, well, I might as well. I'm already drunk, so I'm not going to waste this $5 left in here.
Gotta get my money's worth. Oh, God.
Yeah, as soon as I got on the freeway, I don't know if he was following me from the club.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure because I wasn't on the freeway for like 2 minutes, and he was behind me.
Okay.
I get pulled over. I get out of the freeway, and I'm sorry, I didn't get out of the freeway. I just pulled over on the side of the freeway.
Oh, well, at least you're on the side of the freeway. You didn't stop in the middle of the highway.
What's going on?
I'm clearly sober. Okay, so you pull over to the side.
And so the officer comes to her window, right? He's walking to her window. As soon as we stop, and before he gets to the window, she opens the door and just barks, dude. Like a freaking fountain in front of the cop. And I'm like, oh, this is like, I'm like, all right, I could die right now and I'll be happy. Like, just take me now, please. Eat me, Earth. And the cop is like, stops and goes around and he goes to my window and he's like, "You been drinking tonight?" I'm like, no.
Why do you ask that?
Yeah. He's like, "Please step out of the car." I'm like, all right, this is it. And I get on the whole test and stuff, and it's like, And I'm like, I'm sure I'm getting arrested, right? And he's like, why are you driving? And I told him the situation. Oh, well, this is not my car, it's hers, but you can tell, you can see she's not able to even stand. But so, and I have to get home.
Yeah.
And that's why I had to drive.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, you passed the test, but the breathalyzer is way over the limit.
Yeah.
And
oh wow, so you passed the test.
And he was pretty cool, man. He's if it was another cop, he would arrest me right there. Like, wouldn't even give me the test because I was fucked up. I was clearly fucked up.
I'm sure you reeked of
and I see a sign of the motel like right on the exit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if you let me just go to that motel right there and stay there, I would not move, and I can stay there all night.
Yeah.
And he let me go, dude.
Wow.
He let me go and didn't give me a ticket.
Wow.
He drove the truck there, and I went on the patrol.
Yeah.
They dropped me off, and they drove the truck to the motel, and I stayed there the whole night. And I was so freaking pissed that I didn't talk to that girl ever again in my life, dude.
You never spoke again?
No, never. Like never. I saw her at my cousin's house again, and I was like, I'm completely avoiding her, dude. Like I was like, you almost got me arrested. I mean, it wasn't totally her fault.
Right.
I was clearly drunk and stupid too.
Right. Ideally, you just would have called a taxi and then got in the car the next day.
Yeah.
But it's funny in that moment, because Lord knows I've been there too.
Haven't we all?
Yeah.
Seems like we all have done that.
Yeah. But in that moment, it's like, well, that seems like an inconvenience. I have to call a cab, and that's going to be like $40. You don't think like, oh, a DUI can cost thousands of dollars.
$10,000, yeah.
Yeah.
I have a car right here that works. And
it's fine. I'm good. Like
I drive better when I'm drunk, anyways.
Yeah, man. No, it's scary. I mean, like in college, I was like, I was stupid. Like I would always, because I was good at it, and that's not a good. That's a dangerous thing,
right?
Like I just was, and I would just like drive home from a party. I mean, I knew my limits to a degree, but I would drive home from a party, and just in the back of my head, I'd just be like, oh. As soon as I get out of this car, I'm going to walk in my apartment, walk to the bathroom, and vomit. And I was able to just keep it together long enough. Yeah, like it was just like, I would just, I wouldn't run to my house. Yeah. I was able to just, but yeah, there was, oh man, I did get, it's ironic.
That's good control though. I couldn't control it.
It was. And I got really lucky. But it's ironic because the one time that I did get a DUI, I had only had 2 drinks. And I was
way.
Yeah, I was living in North Carolina at the time, and on a date with a girl, and I was like, all right, like I was probably 28 or something, so I'd kind of gotten those bad habits I just mentioned out of my system.
Right.
And it was like she was like, oh, well, why don't we have one more? And it's like, well, I would like to see you naked, so. Sure, let's loosen it up. Like for both of us, like it's
the more alcohol, the better.
Yeah, exactly. Uber was a thing at this point, so I figured, and they weren't particularly strong. They were just mixed drinks, and I did not get the Adios, motherfucker. I think I had a rum and coke. But anyway, so like we were drinking, having a nice time, like made out at the bar, and then she was just like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna go."
Like,
what happened? Like, 'cause she was there with friends, and one of the friends was really drunk.
Oh my god!
Like, I need to take care of my friend.
Yeah. Been there,
like,
done that.
Yeah. I was just like, the old friend cock block.
Yeah, seriously, right?
But I understood. So then I was like, well, I mean, it had been like 45 minutes since I'd finished that second drink. I'm like, I'm fine.
Right.
So I get in my car, and we were on top of a hill, and at the bottom of the hill, there was a Taco Bell. And so I was like, well, I mean, the next best thing to not getting laid is a cheesy burrito at at midnight.
I was just gonna tell you, isn't Taco Bell and freaking the Jack Tacos the best thing ever when you're drunk, dude? Oh my god,
it really is. It is the best. I once went to Taco Bell for lunch sober, and I will never do that again.
No,
I was like, "What? This is terrible."
Right,
but boy, and that
when
mindset,
you're drunk,
it is heaven. And so I went through. I went into the parking lot. There was a cop car there, and I didn't know. I was like, oh man, he's just waiting for people that leave this bar, go to Taco Bell, because anyone that would go to Taco Bell is clearly drunk.
Yeah.
So, and so I didn't know so I just waved at him.
Oh my god!
So I was just like, "Hey, I'm sober.
Hey, how's it going?"
Just a late night. I just got off. I created a whole backstory, just because I was actually an Uber driver at that time.
Oh, right.
So I was like, just driving those drunkards around. Like I created a whole backstory for myself.
Right.
He had no idea of this. I was conveying all of that in a wave.
Right.
And then the Taco Bell was fucking closed, so I didn't even get anything. So then I left, and then half a mile down the road,
whoop, whoop, pulls you over.
Yeah. And the craziest thing,
probably because the Taco Bell was all shut off, all the lights are off, and you're yanking on the door. And it's like, what the fuck, man?
No. I need that Mexican pizza.
Yeah.
Or at that point, I think the quesarito had just come out. So I got my hand on that. The quesarito burrito. That's what you need.
Yep.
I would like 5,000 calories, please. But yeah, so then like a half a mile down, I got pulled over, and I really was like, I know I wasn't swerving. I didn't have the thought of, oh, maybe I shouldn't drive.
Right.
It's fine. Like, I didn't have that. I was like, oh, whatever, I'm fine. The disappointment of the night sobered me up, if anything.
Yeah, right?
And
that will bring you back to life.
Exactly. So,
to reality, at least.
Exactly. So, I'm doing the test, and I have horrible hand-eye coordination anyway, and I'm wearing dress shoes. And I was born with club feet, so I had to wear casts for the first 9 months of my life. My feet were just inward.
Right.
So, not that I ever had a shot at.
I don't know how just people can pass that test, dude. I'm not in gymnastics. I'm not like.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
I've never been to the Olympics. Right. Yeah, put your feet up in the air and then touch your other feet with your left hand or your dude.
Exactly.
It's impossible. It's like I don't know how I end up passing it when I was super fucked up.
While you were drunk. And so, but it's never a great start when you're talking with the cop. Like, listen, I'm probably going to fail this. Let me tell you what. I'm wearing my dress shoes, because I was just trying to appear as sober as possible.
Right.
Which wasn't that hard. But anyway, so I'd love to see the dash cam of me doing the test. I mean, it's not like I fell on my ass, but I'm sure I looked drunk.
Yeah.
And so I blew the breathalyzer, and the limit's 0.08. I was 0.09.
Oh no way! He took you in for that.
Man.
See, that's how I'm so glad that
you got lucky there.
If I knew who he is or where he's at, shout out to him because he's a pretty cool guy.
Yeah, definitely. And so I went in and talked to the cop took me to the police station. I was there for 2 hours. And and so I was living with my grandmother at the time, and I was like, I can't tell her.
I can't call my grandma.
No.
Yeah.
But my uncle is a lawyer, and he kind of was able to put me in touch with a different lawyer. But so I was still living with her, and so as soon as you get a DUI, that becomes public information. So you start getting mail from lawyers every day.
Every day.
So trying to hide those from my grandmother.
Oh my god.
Full-time job. Because the place she was living, it wasn't just a mailbox out front. She lived in a complex.
Right.
So there was the mail area.
Okay.
So you have to go.
Right in the corner, and then you go.
Yeah. It was the mailboxes for all the buildings. So thankfully, I'm sure she was wondering why does Joe have an invested interest in my mail? But I would just go out every day and check, and was throwing all these letters away and everything, because I was getting 15 a day for a week.
It's crazy, dude. Yeah, it's crazy how many letters you get from the It's not like I've ever gotten a DUI or ever been to jail, but I know people that have, and I've seen their mail, and it's crazy, dude. It's they have 20 letters from different lawyers, and sometimes 3 letters from the same one.
Exactly. Yeah.
In 1 week.
Persistent.
Yeah.
But so thankfully, I already had a lawyer and everything. And, flash forward like 8 months later, and I have to go to court. I'm back in LA, but I have to fly back to North Carolina for my court date. And I'm there with my lawyer. And like leading up to it, I would check in with, like, he wasn't really communicating with me. So we go into the court, and he shows me the dash cam footage. And
he did?
Yeah. The reason he wasn't worried about it is because he had seen the dash cam footage, and there was no swerving, nothing.
Right.
He was like, oh, we're going to get this thrown out because there's no probable cause.
Right.
And that's what happened.
Oh, no way.
Like the whole thing got dropped. They showed the footage, and then, or we showed the footage, and it was clear as day that there was no reason for it. He just guessed correctly that I was at the bar, went to Taco Bell, like it all added up. But the face of the DA, the assistant DA, when the footage played, was just like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Like there was
done. Right.
And so the lawyer was just like, so there's no probable cause here, so what are we doing?
Yeah.
And then the whole thing was dropped. So, like, thank God.
That is
But I
so
still paid,
cool.
like, between lawyer legal fees and stuff. I mean, it still cost me like $2,500.
Yeah.
If it may have been more.
Oh,
But,
totally, yeah. It's
yeah, man, that was
super expensive.
So it was just like, and I just walked straight out of the courthouse. Like, so it's like, because it's weird, like.
Do the lawyers letters stop right after that, or they keep coming out?
Yeah, they just keep coming. Hey, in case you fuck up again. But yeah, man, that was like, that was what a thankful thing,
In case you fuck up again.
Yeah, we'll be here.
Yeah.
But anyway, so you get out of that. You never talk to that girl again. You probably never bought a girl a Long Island iced tea again either.
Yeah, right. No.
You're like, martini. Let's leave it there.
That's it.
Beer, whatever.
Coke. That's it.
Yeah. Just water. We're going to the bar. We're drinking water.
Right.
And so
I was too hardcore at the time.
Sure.
So
yeah. I mean, yeah. You sound like you're 22.
yeah. I guess it was all right for me to have 5 of those and still be okay. And
right. When you're,
I was like, I mean, she can have 3 at least, which is not normal. It's like, no, you'll drop an elephant with that.
yeah, most definitely. So, okay, so you're living on your own. You're hopefully going on better dates than that one.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah. That was just one of the craziest stories.
Yeah, that's nuts.
That's probably the wildest freaking date and the worst date I've ever had. I forgot. After I got that bucket, I told you, that old car I had. I bought a better car, like a newish. It was a Lincoln, and I put rims on it and stuff like that. So it was all freaking pimped out. Right,
My Ride was on at the time, and you
right, yeah. just at the time I was Pimp My Ride, so I just wanted to do the same thing. And my friend, he's like, one of my roommates at the time, he's like, oh, hey dude, can you let me borrow your car? And I want to take this girl out, and your car's really nice, so I want to take her out, and then I'll tint your windows for free.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, well, not for free, for letting him borrow the car.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, sure, man, I don't have anything going on this weekend, just take it. So he takes it, and he brings it back, and the windows are like freaking limo tint, dude. It's like you can't even see out on daylight.
Yeah.
Let alone at night, I couldn't back up because it was so dark. And there's no backup cameras at the time or anything,
no.
Yeah. So that happens, and then the next day at night, I'm like, oh, I'm hungry. I think I went to Taco Bell too.
Yeah.
I went to Taco Bell. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go get some. They had this Fritos burritos.
Oh yes, spicy Frito.
Yeah,
burrito.
so I really liked those at the time.
Good. Yeah.
I mean, single guys.
Oh sure.
What else are you gonna eat? Right?
Yeah.
And I went to Taco Bell, and on my way there, it was night, and it was my Lincoln with rims, and just a cop on a bike just drives by me, just turns back, and he pulls me over, and I'm like, fuck.
Oh, you got pulled over by a bike cop?
Yeah. And he
bicycle
was
or motorcycle?
No, motorcycle.
Okay,
not a bike. Yeah.
Okay, he pulls you over.
I did once though.
Oh, really?
On a bicycle. A cop on a bike on a stop sign, dude.
Oh my god.
That's another crazy story. But he pulls me over and I'm like, and I don't have a driver's license and I don't have insurance because I had just gotten this car and I'm here on a tourist visa.
Yeah.
And at the time I've overstayed my visa already.
Okay.
So I can't get a driver's license.
Yeah.
I never even knew I could get a driver's license on my visa. So I never had a driver's license. I just drove for like 10 years. Seriously, like straight good 8 years with no driver's license, dude.
Wow.
And he pulls me over and my friend had just tinted my windows. It's like, you know your tint is too dark. I'm like,
yes.
Yep, I know that. And he's like, can I have your driver's license and your registration? Oh, driver license and registration, and I give her I give him the registration, no driver license. And he's like, "Where's your driver license?" I'm like, "Oh well, you know what? I just came to talk. I don't have it. You know." Yeah. It's like, "What's your name?" And I gave him my name. He goes and checks my name. He's like, "Yeah, you don't come up on the system. Please step out of the car."
Oh no!
And like, he's like, "Can I see proof of insurance?" And I'm like, "I don't have insurance. I just got this car." And he freaking took away my car. Oh. And he took away my car, and it was impounded for like a month. I had to pay like $1,200 to take it out, and I had just put in $1,500 on the wheels.
Yeah.
So I had no money. Oh. So I had to leave my car, and just I never got the car back.
Really?
Yeah. No, because I didn't have to pay the ticket and the impound money. Because I had to pay the ticket, obviously.
And then you told your roommate, hey, next time, right? Consult the legal level of dark tintness I can do.
Oh, he really screwed me up.
Wow.
He really screwed me with that tint. Because it was dark as hell.
So then you had no car.
Yeah.
Wow.
But now it's funny.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the name of the podcast.
Yeah, there you go.
So, okay. So when did you meet Kendra?
So I met Kendra, my wife, at my niece's wedding.
Okay.
I guess they've always known my wife's family.
Yeah.
And I went to the party and she was there. At the time, I'm a party monster.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah.
Right. And I just went there to see like who was there, right? And I was like, maybe I can get a number or whatever.
Right.
I see her and I ask my cousin, "Hey, who's that girl in the blue dress?" And she's like, "Oh, she's friends with Alondra's, which is my niece getting married.
Right. Friend of the bride.
Yeah, she's friend of the bride." And I'm like, "All right, this is what's gonna happen. You're gonna go to the table," because her mom and her dad were at the table and her sisters, and she was like right in the middle of tables. And I'm like, I'm not gonna go in there and just ask her in front of her mom and her dad if she wants to dance. So I told her, okay, you're gonna take her out to dance, and when you're dancing, I'm gonna come in and then I'm gonna start dancing with her, and then you can go to the restroom and do whatever. Yeah. Sure enough, she went, took her, and then she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go to the restroom, but here's my cousin. You can talk to her." And so I just walked in and
what was her reaction?
How's it going? And she's like, "Oh, like what the hell's going on over here?"
Just sit up.
Yeah, and so we danced a little bit, and then we started talking, and my phone kept ringing, dude. Like, my phone kept ringing, and I'm like, I knew it was my mom because every time they call me from like Mexico, it pops out like unknown caller or whatever, and she looks at my phone and we're talking. And she looks at my phone and I'm like, oh, my mom keeps calling me. Yeah, and I can see her face. She's like, sure, your mom, right?
Right.
And
some other girl's calling, right?
Right. She won't stop calling me. She called me like 6 times, dude, in a row. And finally, I'm like, oh, let me just pick up. And I picked up. It was, sure enough, it was my mom. And I'm like, hey, can I call you back? And But it was kind of funny that she thought it was like a girl. And later on, like now she tells me, yeah, I totally thought it was like another girl calling you.
Right.
And you were just trying to not pick up because you were talking to me. But
Right.
yeah, it was another girl. It was my mom.
Yeah, that's your move.
Yeah.
Just pretend girls are calling when you talk to her.
It's my mom, you know. She's very needy. Yeah, so that.
So you met at a wedding. That's nice.
Yeah, we met at a wedding, and we met at that place where they had the party and stuff, the reception. And a year later, we got the same place. We got married at right there.
A year to the day.
A year, exactly a year after. And we had a party right there where we met.
Wow! So things escalated pretty quickly from that first meeting. Huh?
Yeah, pretty much. I was one of the guys, dude, that was like, I'm never gonna get married. I'm like, I party too much. Like I do whatever the hell I want.
Right.
You know? Why would I get married?
Yeah.
And when I met her, she's the total opposite of me, dude. She's like super chill. She can stay home and just her computer and her books are
that's all she needs.
Yeah, that's all she needs. And I can't do that. I have to be out. I have to talk to people. I'm like very outgoing, and she's like super introverted. And so, which is funny how we both kind of complement each other.
Right.
Like I bring her out, and she has to like socialize and stuff, and then she kind of calms me down.
Right.
And I guess that was the whole point of why.
Right. Yin and yang.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Opposites can attract.
Right.
I love it when people just say that blindly because I'm like, well, I don't know that that's always the case. You know,
right?
Like in theory, you wouldn't think they would because they're totally opposite. But then, you know, I think if you date like somebody like yourself long enough, then it can kind of point out what you don't like about yourself. I think.
Yeah.
You know?
Correct.
Just like,
That's
that's
some of the things that some of the girls that I dated, they were like party monsters just like me because I met them at a club or at a party, and we would go out and party and stuff like that, and I was just tired of that. I'm like, no, I don't want a girl that, because when I met my wife, it was already wearing off because I party every weekend, and I'm like, okay, I can't. This is fun for like a year or two, but I can't do this for 10 years.
Right.
Like,
so I mean, a year to the day is some might say fast.
Oh yeah,
it's
super fast.
Yeah, like were there some? I mean, what were like the biggest struggles that you guys had to get over? Just I don't mean like it was terrible or anything, but like it had to just be like a bit of a shift.
Oh yeah, no, like, it was hard to get used to just being with another person because she doesn't really like going clubbing or stuff like that, and so when I met her, I stopped doing it.
Right, and
not because she would say something, but just because I wanted to be with her, and I wasn't gonna just take her to a club and me partying and she's just like sitting and not doing anything. So it was just that it was hard adapting to like it was a new lifestyle, pretty much, because I had to chill the hell down, and because I like this girl, and the thing is, like, you know, her family, they're all like super chill. Like,
oh yeah,
they don't drink or anything like that.
Go out
and so when I would hang out with them, I'm like, well, I guess we're not drinking, huh? So I guess nobody drinks here. Okay, I can't do that. Which is, I was never like an alcoholic or anything, but I like to party.
And now everything's great. I mean, you guys have an amazing little baby.
Oh yeah, now we have a 1-year-old, 15 months daughter.
Yeah,
her name is Aria.
Yeah,
and she is full of energy, bro.
Yes. Well, I mean, that's a pretty awesome story from when you got here to now. What? I mean, how long has it been since you've moved here? Like 11, 12 years?
I got here when, to be exact, October 21st, 2005. What is it? 2018? like 13 years.
Wow.
This October.
Man, that's
It doesn't seem like that long, and
yeah.
but it's 13 years.
So just wrapping up, I guess. Now that you do have a child and everything, like, is it? How do you sort of balance the fact that like lives here, but you have a lot of, I mean, you have family back at home, and so like that combination of, English and Spanish and different, like, so how? I mean, is she? I mean, I imagine because she was born here, she'll just know both languages instinctively, right?
So what we're trying to do is have her speak both at the same time, but more Spanish, because English is gonna speak it and learn it and
right, going to school
and stuff like that. But I really want her to like know both.
Yeah,
because it's just better. I mean, the more you know, the better. It's like we go to Mexico and you can communicate with people. It's
right.
Like, I don't want her to go through what I went.
Yeah.
Because it's pretty hard when you're trying to talk to someone and you can't tell it, and you can tell them anything because they won't understand you.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, we're trying to teach her Spanish, and I kind of talk to her both English and Spanish, but more Spanish.
Yeah, that makes sense. Started off with that, and then
Yeah. And then,
yeah. Well, incredible story, and there's the dog barking.
Penny.
Yep. So I guess that's the signal that we're done.
Yeah. She's like, all right, you guys talk too much.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely. That was the episode. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Thanks so much to Chris for coming on. As he mentioned, he does have an eBay store, so if you're looking for some killer designer clothes at a discount price, go to ebay.com/USR/KMEZA. That's KMEZA 1127. They got all sorts of great stuff. If you enjoyed the episode, please consider giving us 5 stars on Amazon and maybe even write a review. It just makes the podcast seem more legit when people know that other people are listening to it and enjoy it. If you don't like it, you can just keep that to yourself or email me and tell me how bad of a show this is at badtimesgoodstoriespodcast@gmail.com. Support the show on Patreon. The show is always free, but it's not free to make. And as I say, I'm a one-man band, and I don't play any instruments. So any support you guys can throw my way on Patreon would be greatly appreciated. We got some cool perks and all that kind of stuff, so check that out through my website, badtimesgoodstoriespod.com. I'll be back next Wednesday with a new episode of the show. Until then, keep laughing.